So,
All
hey
right.
guys, welcome to our new episode of the Arthur Cury Podcast. This time we're talking to an American, the second one here after Nicolas Albiero. He used to be a breaststroker, an IMer. He was a conference champion with Missouri State University. He used to be my teammate, and he had a lot of experiences as a recruiter, as an assistant coach at Kaiser University, also West Florida, and today he's an assistant coach at Southern Illinois University. So, Michael Hampel, welcome, my friend. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, what an intro. That's really overselling me right there. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're pros here, man.
Yeah. I love it, man. Yeah, I'm super excited to join you and excited to have a nice conversation about swimming life and everything else.
Awesome. So, bro, to start things off, I'd like you to talk to us a bit about how'd you start swimming, if you just swim or were there any other sports?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, my mom swam growing up, and she grew up in a small town, same small town, Owensboro, Kentucky. I actually, obviously went through water safety and all of that with my mom being involved in the sport. I actually didn't make the swim team the first two times I tried out. So kind of went away, played other sports, ran cross country, track, basketball, and actually got hurt playing basketball. Kind of fell back into the sport, and then never got dry again. Yeah, it was great. I love the sport, but that's kind of how I got started. That's kind of where I went from there.
And where did you start? Like when and where did you start it? Did you start competing and getting things more seriously?
Yeah, probably 12 or 13 is kind of where I really started to focus in on swimming. Felt that it was the best opportunity for me. Kind of looking into college swimming, I always wanted to be a college athlete, no matter what sport. When I kind of found some success in swimming is where I kind of dove right into the sport as a whole and felt that that was the best opportunity for me. And then got really serious after that. Kind of went all in on swimming. So.
Yeah, and when you started to compete, like, would you train a lot, like lots of volumes? And how was this process for you until you went to college? Were you always an
Yeah, actually,
IMer, focus more on breast?
no, I was actually originally like a backstroker. Kind of always had a little bit more sprint in my background. My club did not train a lot of volume. So growing up that way, when I got to college, it started at the University of Louisville. It was a big shock for me. Volume was a lot heavier. I think I would have won the award for most cramps in the first week, first month, and first season. It was a big adjustment for me, but overall a good one. It was nice to see kind of something different as far as the training platform goes.
Mm-hmm. Would you have any favorite drill for breaststroke or IM, like from back when you were an athlete? Or I don't know if that changed, when you became a coach. If you could explain
Yeah,
to people.
for sure. Yeah, I still am a huge fan of sculling. I think sculling is the basis of all four strokes. I think kind of establishing that body line, a good feel in the hands, a nice high elbow catch, those things. I was a huge fan of that as a breaststroker. I was also a big fan of kicking on my back in streamline breaststroke, keeping my knees under the water, really extending through the hip, and all those things. As a coach, I love to establish body line, just in any stroke. So starting with sculling, specifically breaststroke, 1 pull 2 kick, really riding the line, feeling that extension, through the hands, shoulders, hips, all the way to the feet. I think that's so important and extremely undervalued in a day where, training is all over the place. Some people believe in high volume, some people believe in low, and some people in between. I think drills are kind of the great equalizer, and technique is the great equalizer. So I'm a big technique. I guess focus on technique is a big portion of our program.
And a question that came to my mind right now was related to volume. You said you wouldn't work a lot of volume when you were younger. Do you think that's something that made you, stay in the sport for a longer period of time? Because I feel that if I worked a lot of volumes as a younger, I think I wouldn't, handle things well, and maybe I would have, quit. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a big thing for me. I was a fan of having fun. And I think
Hmm.
you can attest to that too. Even when we were teammates in college, I like to have fun. Even when
Yeah.
it was super hard, grueling sets, always a loud guy, smile on my face
Mhm.
most of the time.
That's true.
And
That's
I,
true.
I really do think that low volume early in my career helped me keep or stay in the sport. And then, obviously as it became more serious, um, volume went up, training intensity went up, but also the focus did too. So I didn't really mind too much of a
Hmm.
change that way.
Yeah. And before we get into coaching stuff, coaching questions, I would like to ask you, how was swimming for you? Because I always saw swimming as I know I always had fun, like you said, but I always knew I wanted to be a pro swimmer, and I needed to try. That's something I always
Yeah.
had in my mind and in thoughts. But how was swimming for you? Was that a tool for you to get into college and then become a coach? What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. I love swimming. A big goal of mine was to make it to U.S. Olympic trials. And 16, I'd missed it by 18 100ths. And
Mhm.
so that was a bummer. So obviously, going into college, that was a big motivator for me. Um, but I really just loved the grind. I love the team camaraderie of swimming. It was a great vehicle, especially later in my career of getting a master's degree. That was a huge
Mhm.
thing for me. And a big reason why I took my fifth year was to get a degree, because at that point I had kind of known the last 3 years of my swimming career that I wanted to coach. Um,
Mhm.
so it kind of transitioned a bit, but I still wanted to be as high level as possible, right? Like,
Yeah.
still wanted to win conference championships, still wanted to win individual championships, and also make the push towards
Mhm.
U.S. National teams and all those things, which never happened, but the push was
Mhm.
always there. So
Yeah. And what made you get so interested in coaching? Because that's something I get interested too, and I plan on doing that on future. But yeah, talk to us a bit about that.
yeah, I feel like as much as I was in the sport and in the sport of swimming, that it was time for me to give back. And really, I'd kind of filled in one evening at Missouri State Aquatics. They needed somebody to fill in for a coach. I was like, sure, I'll do it. That's no big deal. And I just loved the way I could impact people's lives, and just talk to somebody and get them better at something they were interested in. I felt, from day one of that, I was immediately going to do that for the rest of my life. I just love the relationship building aspect. That's really why I like recruiting, on the aspect
Mhm.
of college coaching. But I just love getting to know somebody, what makes them tick, and kind of what's their interest and why are they in the sport. If it is, social, or to get a degree, or to win championships, those things obviously differ by division, and those things. But I was really interested in why someone wanted to do something like that.
Mhm. And in the US, I think it's very common for a coach to have had an experience as a swimmer, and I think that's a big deal for a coach to be the best possible, because I see a lot of coaches here in Brazil with no experience as a swimmer, so they don't have as much empathy for the athlete and stuff. So I'd like to ask you, how did your experience as a swimmer shape your coaching philosophy for today?
Yeah, I felt, in my swimming experience, that I always wanted to be valued. That was a big. I think it's thrown around a lot of value. How what's your value on the point scoring? What's your value on team GPA? What's your value to team culture? Um, and I just wanted to be valued as an athlete. Um, and so a big thing for me is to provide value. Not only of, how fast can you swim the 50, how fast can you swim the 1500, but tell me about your life. Tell me about your, spare me the details, please. But like, how's your girlfriend? How's your boyfriend? What's your, family life like? Do you have a dog? I think those are super important in day-to-day interaction. Like I said, relationship building, that's really a big thing for me.
Yeah. And what would be like the biggest challenges that you face as an assistant coach? Because you had experiences at Kaiser too, West Florida, and as you said, at Missouri State Aquatics.
Yeah, I think, as an assistant coach, I wouldn't even say it's a challenge, just something different that I think, coming from an individual sport of swimming, you're kind of leaning into what you're really good at, right? Some things as an assistant, you're seeing your job is to fulfill someone else's vision of a program, right? And help that to the best of your ability. Now for me, I'm blessed and lucky to have been a part of multiple programs now where I align with a lot of what we do. And that's awesome. Some coaches cannot say the same. I know that for sure. I'm just talking through the coaching grapevine. And I love what we do. I think a lot of what we do is incredible. So I think that part of being selfless and working for, a bigger institution for the Salukis and making sure that everything you do is for the better of the team. Like, I always joke, I'm not very organized. I am to a certain point, but I'm not great at making plans and all of those things. So I've really had to step outside my comfort zone in that, as far as like booking hotels and those things where the dry side of coaching that no one sees. Those are always challenges. But I think, challenges of coaching, a lot of what is changing with the NCAA is a challenge no matter where you're at. I feel that with the house settlement and roster changes, overall, it's going to be really good for the sport of swimming in the long run. And it's going to really spread out talent, and you're going to get to see a lot of really cool stuff from some programs you might not have heard of. And I think that's going to be a plus. But that always kind of going through the unknown and the changes of that is going to be interesting for everybody.
And this other question I have is more for the Brazilians who watch us, and they always, they always have this question like, what is the main difference between a D1, a D2, a NAIA division, and you coach, in so many divisions, and I'd like you to, talk a bit about those differences in swimming, because I talked a bit about the financial part for the people who watch us, but they want to know more about the team size and stuff like that, or program wise.
Yeah, for sure. I think coaching Division II and NAI are my previous 2 seasons. I think those are different, but both programs I was at were very high level swimming. I mean, we were 11th in NCAA's, West Florida in Division II. Should have been higher. We'll get into that later. And then NAI, we had won the women's championship and the men's championship was second. And we had a lot of fast swimming. We had a breaststroker that was a 2-time European medalist, silver medalist there. So the level of swimming, I think if you're looking strictly by numbers, I think at the top level of each, the top is the top. Swimming is swimming at the end of the day. What you're looking for as far as balance from Division I to II to NAI, I think the lower of the divisions you go, the little bit more balance of you have a little bit more social time, a little bit more time for academics. Whereas I feel Division I there's a reason it's the highest level, because it's the rules are cranked a little bit to make it the highest level, right? Like recruiting rules are a little bit different compared to that of the NAI. You can really get aggressive on certain aspects of the sport. But yeah, I feel that the team aspect doesn't change. They're still, for the most part, 18 to 23-year-old kids, that have the same interests around the world, and they want to swim fast. Just kind of that level of commitment to the sport, and kind of that time management skill is what changes from 1-2 to NAIA. I feel that for the most part in Division I, it's a little bit more time consuming from from the differences too, where you wake up, eat, sleep, swim, find some time to be fun and also study in between that, where at 2 and NAIA, I felt that it was a little bit more, you can take a deep breath and get things done.
And you mentioned that breaststroker you worked with. I think he was at Kaiser, right? He was like 59, 100 breasts. And,
yep, he went from 101. He was 101.8 the previous summer, and then coming into the Olympic year, it was 59.9. So pretty good season, I'd say.
Yeah, congrats. And how do you approach things, with athletes that have these Olympic aspirations? Do you guys have a different approach, or?
I think it's really just the same high-level approach from anywhere, right? I think you discuss goals, whatever they may be, with the individual athlete. And as far as the plan really doesn't change. Obviously, each athlete has its own nuances. You want to see some different things during a set. But as far as what you're trying to achieve, that high-level swimming is high level. Your detail orientation and the way you approach things, things that you might, I don't want to say overlook, but things that you would kind of say, all right, we're focused on something else during the set, like maybe depth on a push off. That's our main focus, depth, getting under there. That way you can start the underwater kicks. They might have 3 or 4 other things that we could clean up, but that's what we're focusing on. Whereas at a super high level with Noel, a lot of what we did was extremely detail oriented, and it was like, if that's not right, we need to really take a deep breath and kind of reset and do it again. I think that level just becomes a little bit raised, that standard.
What challenges the hardest challenges you faced as a swimming coach? Having to deal with so many different people with different goals. There's the mental side as well. Some people might want to enjoy more of the time without, not thinking about the sport. They want to enjoy more time with their families. What challenges you faced in these last few years?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't even, challenges is interesting. I think it's different per athlete, right? Every day is a new day. I think as a coach, it's really challenging to have, like, for example, we're going to have, by the end of the year, we'll have 70 swimmers and divers on our roster between men and women total. Managing emotion of just everybody, right? Like, I've got to come in every day and I take time every morning before I get out of my car and come into the pool of, all right, I decompress. I go through, I'm Catholic. I read scripture. Every morning I read the Catholic readings for mass and what that's going to look like. And then I kind of ground myself and then come on deck. And I think through a practice and through a 2-hour training block, there's a lot of different emotions. Some people are having great days. Some people are having bad days. Some people have 6 exams at 9 a.m. Practice ends at 8, So the challenge really is trying to find how to squeeze the juice out of everybody every single day, without, tipping over the glass and spilling it everywhere and making a mess. That's probably the biggest challenge on a daily basis. Some days it's great and everything's smooth sailing. Other days you're like, I wouldn't mind jumping down to the bottom of the pool for a little bit and having a little bit of silence. But
and we have a lot of Brazilians watching us, and most of them want to know, like, what do you look for on an athlete? Because lots of Brazilians go to the US and they're recruited, they leave the country expecting to have a college life, So what do you guys look for mainly?
Yeah, I think good people. I think that's first and foremost. I think the human being behind the goggles. I think swimming is swimming, right? There's a certain standard that we look for, as every other program I've been a part of. If you fit that kind of mold, as far as progression and all those things, that's one thing. But I think good people. It takes one. We say this all the time. It takes one recruiting class or one dip in recruiting that'll set a program back 4 or 5 years or more. It can really derail the system. I really feel that good people coming in that are ready to work, ready to have a smile on their face and do a really good job every day is something I look for. And then as far as swimming, a big thing for me, everyone will laugh, if I'm a big fan of streamline and underwaters,
Mm-hmm.
like just very like effort, very effort style type of things in training. If you can't
Mm-hmm.
do the simple things right,
Yeah.
I'm going to get really frustrated. Streamline's
Mm-hmm.
one, all the way, finishing to the hand, all the way on and underwater, not breathing a meter off the wall, those things.
Mm-hmm.
And when we go to meets, when we go to, junior nationals or sectionals or all those things, I'll be the first to say I'll sit in the stands and watch those things of warm up and how you interact with your coach and all those things after a good swim or a bad swim. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And one of the things I saw, I think Eddie Reese saying on Brett Hawk's podcast was that one of the first things he notices when he's looking at a swimmer is how he streamlines, you know. And you mentioned the streamline, and yeah, I mean the importance of details. I was gonna ask you about the technical parts, with swimmers. How do you guys work the technical aspects? If it's every single day, if you guys have one specific day to, just work technique, or you guys just get the swimmers that are just, ready. They're ready to go. They just train and don't have to focus a lot on that. I mean, I know the answer, but
Right.
for the guys who are watching us,
Right. No, I wish I could bring in everybody and they were perfect all the time. Right. That'd be fabulous. That would make my job great. We could just train all the
Yeah.
time. We wouldn't have to, it would be hard. It'd be different. Just because, I wouldn't get to do my job. I love making stroke adjustments. It's super fun for me.
Mhm.
I think training's secondary. And I think anybody can, I say that. I think anybody can write a workout. I think it's really difficult to write a season plan that's going to be successful.
Mhm.
To a certain system and all those things. But yeah, I every single day we work technique every single day, whether it's 6 minutes to 45.
Mhm.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. It's more of our active recovery. We'll active recovery, do some underwater set, a little bit low volume, and then we're going to come in and we'll do stroke sessions. So every coach will have a stroke. We're going to do some drills, skills, work on some things. It's very low intensity, but just kind of set yourself up for success.
Mhm. I think I saw another podcast with Ray Lewis from Indiana, and I don't know if it was with Brett Hawk, but I think Brett asked him, like, would you have any piece of advice, for younger coaches? And Ray's like, find someone who swims really fast.
It's
You
true.
know,
It's true. It
it's
makes
exactly what you mentioned.
it makes life a lot easier, right? Like you're like, okay, all right, I can work. Like you can really do some damage if you've got a guy that goes, 18.5 in the 50. That's always
Yeah.
helpful.
Mhm.
Going from 18.5 to 18.2, that's the part that's hard, right? So, um, but some guys and some girls just they've got a really natural ability, and can make changes really really quick, which is awesome. That's always fun to work with too because you're like, oh, okay, let's now
Mhm.
just kind of beat that home almost.
Mm-hmm. And how do you balance coaching, the technical aspects, and the mental side of the sport? Because I mentioned before that some people may try to find the balance between swimming and apart from swimming, like family wise and stuff they do with their friends. But when you're all in, when you're focused on technique a lot, I go through that, all the time. And I'm an IAMer, so I'm always trying to find ways to get better. So sometimes I get a bit crazy, so many details and stuff. So how do you guys balance that?
Yeah, definitely. I think taking time and I'm a big proponent of this. Of like, I ask every day. I think if any of my swimmers were to watch this, they would laugh at this. But I'll always say, how's life? I'll ask, how's life? And they'll give
Mm-hmm.
me a swimming answer, like, oh, I feel like this didn't go. No, I'm like, no, 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 no. How's life going? And kind of like reiterating that, hey, we do care as a staff of what's going on outside. And it's super easy that the black line will talk to you for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you know it, I know it. Like if you let it talk to you, it's going to. And it's easy to get kind of crazy and caught up in the sport just because it is you and the black line and a lot of silence. Hopefully have good coaches that play good music like me.
Yeah.
And then, but you know, sometimes there's no music and it's not very much of a good time. You know, it's like a lot of focus. I mean, I know when I was swimming, I would count my strokes like every 25. I could probably rehearse after a practice where I slipped up, like inside the practice. So I get it. But yeah, I just think asking those questions, you know, inquiring, don't just stand on deck and run the set and focus solely on technique. You know, have good conversations, tell a bad joke, you know, all those things. I'm pretty notorious for a bad joke every once in a while. So, you know, I just think being a human is a big factor of coaching. You know, the X's and O's of swimming there's only so many you can, you know, talk about until there's nothing else to reiterate. So.
What would be a good coach for you? Because I saw the other day, I don't know if it was Carson Foster or a different swimmer saying about, you know, that good coaches are people who can give you a good, you know, piece of life advice, and they are not just talking about swimming. They, you know, bring you some wisdom and stuff like that. How do you see that?
Definitely, I completely agree. I think we've been blessed and in our experience of having some really awesome coaches. I know my current head coach at SIU, Jeff Hansen, he coached you, and then we had some of the same coaches, in college. So, you know, a lot of the conversations that Dave Collins and I had at Missouri State were life related. I mean, we probably talked about swimming a handful of times. You know, obviously to make adjustments in those things, and same with Chelsea Dirksham at Missouri State. We chatted a lot, just about life and what's going on and all of those things, and really developed a relationship. I felt a sort of pride and excitement for swimming fast for my teammates and them. That was a big portion for me. And I felt that was a lot because I had developed a relationship with everybody. It wasn't just about me swimming fast in a 50 breaststroke on a relay. It was, you know, for a cap and for a team, for a legacy that is extended way upon what 50 yards of breaststroke was.
Yeah. And how do you adapt your training to people with different strengths and weaknesses? You know, that's something I've been wondering, you know. I'm not coaching yet, but it's good to learn from someone like you, you know.
Yeah, it's I think really you're going to find some trends in sport and kind of what certain people. I know every program I've been, there's been swimmers that swim alike, and at least have similar genetics and similar. You know, everybody's different to a certain extent. But just finding those ways, and not only you could do the same practice, and you could do it 6 different ways if you just talk through, you know, what we're doing and what we're trying to achieve. This morning we did our efforts practice, for example, and you know, for a couple of our breaststrokers, they swim completely different. They are about the same speed in the 100 and 200, but swim it completely different. So we were trying to force the envelope, change some things, and they were swimming the set 2 completely different ways by the end, on purpose. But you know, really trying to adapt the set that we have for everybody, or just have multiple different sets, which sometimes we do. But you know, just kind of adapting what the focus is during that time. Sometimes it's organized chaos. We've got 8 different things on in the water and 5 coaches on deck, and diving in between the 16 lanes, and it makes it pretty fun. But yeah, just having fun and being adaptable too. I think, you know, I'm not a guy that don't write anything down. I think it's probably something I should adapt and write things down at least post practice. But I come in with an idea of what we want to do. And especially with the sprinters at Kaiser, when I was there, I never wrote anything down. I had a season plan, and it was all in colors. It was color chart. So it was where we're going to be at, you know, high volume, low volume, all that, through a color chart. I didn't have any sets written down. And I was a big fan of watching warm up. and seeing how we look, because I could
Interesting.
have a great idea. Could have a great idea in the car on the way over and feel like, or in the, when I'm decompressing the night before or on my run or whatever it may be. And then I come in and they look terrible. We look flat, and there's just no way we're going to be at 100 pace, and have to adapt and change and do those things. That's something I really learned early on in my career. I'd come in with a great idea, and I felt was a great idea, and it would blow up in my face, and I'd be like, that was brutal. And so I kind of adapted to, let me try not bringing anything in and really adapting to what I'm working with today. And that helped a ton.
Mm-hmm. Are there any other, any coaches that inspired you to be who you are today? Because I think about Bob Bowman, Eddie Reese, Sergio Marques here, who trains me. He's an Olympic coach, So what coaches inspired you in this?
Yeah, I've spent some time with Eddie Reese. I've been blessed to go the past 2 years to the University of Texas swim camp. We got a deeper dive into kind of what they do. And so I've spent a lot of time with Eddie and Wyatt was on deck as well. And just kind of really not talking too much about swimming, just kind of talking about how they manage, relationships and while they're coaching. Like, coaching takes a lot of time. How do you, put your family first and all of those things. So I'm a big fan of Eddie. Love seeing Eddie on deck. I think, Carol Capitani is great as well. She's awesome. Love spending time on deck with her. I got the opportunity as well when I was there to spend time with her and learn from her. Arthur Albiero, obviously Brazilian. He coached me for 2 years at University of Louisville. I've known him since I was 12 years old. Picked up a lot from him on deck, on just, specifically, he's just a really great recruiter. I was during my first year, I was hurt. Didn't do a lot of swimming just because of rehabbing, and I would host a lot, so I'd be around the coaching staff a lot and get to pick up on things on just the way they treated recruiting, how important it was, the way it a flow on a daily basis was during recruiting. Every coach I've had to club coaching, Valley Prada, Wes St. Clair, those are some guys that were incredible athletes in their own right, and I picked up some great things and from everybody. So any coach I've ever had, Dave, Chelsea, everybody, I've really picked up and tried to soak up as much as I could. But I really learned a lot from Ethan Jacobson as well, assistant at Missouri State. He was my head coach at Missouri State Aquatics, and just on how to treat people, just from a daily basis, from a daily routine of just looking at somebody and saying hello, good morning, like good afternoon, like
I remember
simple
that.
things like that. Simple things like that are just very profound when you're in it every day. It's super easy to be like, all right, we're going 10 200s and kind of do your thing. But, having that time to say hello to somebody is super important.
Yeah. And would you have any piece of advice to swimmers to balance the ups and downs of the process? Sometimes they get, confused because they only think about swimming, or of course there's college too, but I don't know, any advice to these people to have a more healthy lifestyle?
Yeah, for sure. I think taking time for yourself is a big thing. Whether you like to read or go on a walk or play video games, taking time and just saying, all right, I'm decompressing from, and coaching too. I do the same. I turn my phone on airplane mode for an hour of the day, and I just don't pay attention to anything on my phone. But yeah, I just think really taking time for yourself, taking a deep breath, saying, hey, I'm still me. It's easy to be, I'm caught up as a swimmer or a student athlete, and I've got pressure from everywhere, and I've got to be a great brother and sister or teammate, whatever that may be. But taking time and just saying, all right, this is my thing. I want to focus on whatever it may be for an hour, 30 minutes, go on a walk, all those things. I think that's super valuable.
Love it, man. Two more questions before we go to the quick Q&As.
Okay.
First one, how does your schedule work today? Like the program of you guys, like do you have dry
Yeah.
lands 3 times a week? How does weight work or work in the
Yeah.
pool for the coaches who are
Yeah. So,
watching us here from Brazil?
yeah. So super interesting. This is the first program I've been a part of that does this. And I'm a real big fan of it. Personally, I was a huge draw in my interview process and everything. We structure our power workouts around weights instead of it being around swimming. So kind of our weekly schedule, our Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we're going to lift. Everybody lifts 3 times a week, no matter if it's from the 1650 or the 50. That's pretty standard. Every swim is paired, or every lift, I'm sorry, is paired with a swim. So we'll have in the afternoon a 2 or a 3 hour, technically, training block from 2 to 5. So we'll have a group that'll come in and they'll do the power workout on the front end in the water and then go to the weight room immediately. And everything is fast it's sometimes barely 1,700 yards total, for the practice. And then we'll flip them. So people that started in the weight room are then going to go to the pool, and everything that you did in the weight room is super applicable to the water. And that's on Monday and Wednesday night. Friday morning is just a lift from 6 to 7. And then Friday night is VO2 max. So you're going to come in and kind of taking that power, obviously you have a ton of time in between the two, but it's still very applicable of, hey, you were Friday morning lift, Friday night we're swimming fast. And then kind of off that as Monday morning is super normal aerobic. I think everywhere in the country comes in, you're going to kick, you're going to swim, heart rate work, depending on where we're at in the season, low, middle, high heart rate, changing heart rates, descend work, those things. Wednesday morning for us is our lower end aerobic heart rate, kind of a flush, active recovery. And then, like I said, that drill work, 30 to 40 minutes of that. And then our Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, those are I would say our big bread and butter practices. I'm a fan of those. Tuesday morning, our main practice, our Tuesday and Thursday morning, are 9 to 11. So time for prelims. So we're swimming fast at prelims time. I think that's how you win a conference championship. From the time that I tell the story all the time, when we showed up with 11 swimmers and 3 divers at Missouri State and got second, we probably had 2 B final swims out of the whole meet. Everybody was in the A final. So we kind of carry that same sentiment of, you got to win the meet in the morning. And so we go efforts most of the time, especially, as we kind of drip into midseason and conference and NCAAs, it'll be suited. And then, so it'll be pretty high level, 5 or 6 efforts. This morning we did 7 efforts on about 10 minutes. Pretty high level. There was some fast stuff this morning, man. I wish I had it on video. But then Thursday we go long and short IM, and then the sprinters will break off too. So everybody's going to swim, and unless if you're a 50 guy, then you go with the sprinters. But everybody's touching something they're not good at. So even if you don't swim the 200 IM, I think that's super important. That's new to me. As you know, I was the IMer that never trained IM. It was the longest 50 breaststroke ever. That's what I would always call it. Everybody touches it. So that's great. I think it becomes pretty fun. People get after it.
Why do you think that's important? That's a great question. A lot of coaches from Brazil are gonna enjoy this answer.
Yeah, I think from a fitness standpoint, it's a different stimulus. I just think that you have to put your body in a position that it doesn't normally go in. I think it's easy to say, that it's not applicable because they never do this stroke, and I just disagree. I think, as an athlete, I would have 100% agreed with that sentiment of, I don't do this, I shouldn't do it. As a coach now, I'm like, man, I really wish I would have, for sheerly fitness and aerobic work, do something different. So I'm a big fan of it. I like it a lot. Florida, for example, they do Friday fly day. It doesn't matter if you swim breaststroke or not. It's just a fitness aspect. So we kind of do that with our IM. And then Saturday for us, that's a big training block. We'll come in, we'll do a little bit of dry land. And we do dry land Tuesday, Thursday as well, pull-ups, push-ups, and some abs. Nothing too crazy. But, being an athlete, Saturday the same way. Come in, pull-ups, push-ups, abs, those things. And then we come in and we hit it hard. We call it Saluki Saturday. We get some work done. I mean, the breaststrokers did a 3,400-yard breaststroke set the other day. It was basically all breaststroke. It was a lot. And we get after it. I mean, we see some really good stuff on Saturday. I think Saturday is how you win a championship meet. You've got to be able to finish it off. So that day of 200s is super important. You can either make a charge to the front or you can slowly get reeled back in. And we don't want to be the team that's getting reeled back in. So, that's all over the place. We've got a ton of different stuff going on, breaststroke group, long IM, distance, short IM, mid D, and sprint. I mean, it's all over the place. But that's kind of a week for us. It's fun. It's loud. The music's always good. So,
I love it. Love it, man. And our last question, it's I want you to give another advice to the guys watching us. An advice to people who aspire to be in a position like yours. What would you give?
Learn. Learn. Just pick up a book. Learn something. Don't be too prideful to learn and kind of ask questions. I think the greatest kind of shortcoming in life is being afraid to ask questions. I've asked some really dumb questions in my career. Some questions that people would even be like, really? Like, I just needed to know the answer. And keep a book, keep a booklet, write things down. I'd always joke and laugh that my notes, I have no organization in my notes app on my phone. But if I find something I like, I type it in, and it's like I'll go through it every 2 months, organize everything, and then put it into a bigger note. But not being afraid to ask questions and just having fun. Like that's my biggest advice.
No, I love it. It's a great advice, man. Now we're going to our quick Q&A session. You ready for that? Not swimming related.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So what did you have for breakfast today?
What did I have for breakfast? I had a vanilla protein shake at like 5:30, and then my real breakfast I had 4 eggs and a small little sirloin. It was awesome.
Oh, I think I'm getting hungry right now. Hot dog or burger?
Most of the time burger. I'd say there's 3 times in America that you can eat multiple hot dogs. Memorial Day, Labor Day, and 4th of July. Outside of that, I stick to the burger, and definitely cheese on the burger.
Oh yeah. Chocolate chip cookies or peanut butter M&Ms?
Ooh, peanut butter M&Ms. Peanut butter M&Ms. That's my golf course. Like,
I miss that. We don't have that in Brazil.
I'll send you some.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so would you rather have the ability of speaking all languages in the world or being able to speak with all animals?
Oh, languages for sure. That would be amazing. I have so many. I mean, you know this. We have so many friends from other countries. That would just be so easy. Like,
okay, I have 2 more. Okay, would you rather time travel to the future only, or be able to teleport just to the places you've already been?
Ooh. I've been some really cool places. I think I'd teleport. The future, the future is what you make it. So teleport to where I've been.
Yeah, same for me. Okay, the last one. If you could describe yourself in one word, what would it be?
Oh my gosh.
That's a hard one.
Wow, that is a hard one. I would say, man, that's hard. I'd say determined. I think determined. I approach life with a really, kind of hard head, for better or for worse. And I want to make my dreams a reality. And so, in every aspect of any dream I've had, I've wanted to go after it, give it the best shot. So I'd say determined.
That's perfect, man. So where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, it's I'm on Instagram, Michael Hampel, exactly spelled how it is right here. One,
Yeah,
or look up. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And then, I really am a big Instagram guy more than anything else. I'm always on there. Yeah. So.
And thanks, guys, for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and comment below. Don't forget to share it with people you think might watch this content. Thanks, Michael, for accepting the invite. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
My man, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to chat with you. I know it's been a while since we've chatted other than just text. So great to see your face and doing well and all of that. So thank you so much.